You know, ladies and gentlemen, in sports like in life, you never can forget your first time, your first date, your first kiss, your first trip to your favorite place, the first time you basically know that perfection is in your grasp. Now, this Montreal Canadian team was the first Habs squad to win the Stanley Cup. Many consider it probably one of the greatest hockey teams in the first 25 years of the 20th century. I tend to agree. The 1915-16 Montreal Canadiens, who won the Stanley Cup that year, had talent to burn, a very, very strong squad, some tremendous Hall of Famers, some tremendous skaters, some tremendous support staff, just an outstanding overall team. Now let's put this in perspective. There was no NHL in 1916. Montreal was playing, I think it was their seventh season in something called the National Hockey Association. Now Montreal had won the championship of the NHA that year and faced off against the Pacific Coast Hockey Association, or PCHA champion, the very talented Portland Rosebuds. Now this was the first time that a best-of-5 Cup championship went the distance, and a lot of people believe it's one of the best finals of all time. Now, the Rosebuds were also the first team based in the United States to play for the Cup. The Canadiens defeated the Rosebuds 3-2 in the best-of-5 series, and again, this was the Habs' first Stanley Cup championship before the NHL was formally, put together. Now, Montreal had won the NHA title after finishing the regular season in first place at 16-7-1, while Portland finished the PCHA title run with a 13-5 record. So Montreal was a slight favorite going in because playing more games and possibly better opposition. Now, the games of the series were played at Montreal's Montreal Arena, and as it was the turn of the NHA champions to host the series. This was not the home rink of the Habs, but it was larger than their home rink, the Jubilee Rink. Now, games 1, 3, and 5 were played under NHA rules, and games 2 and 4 were played under PCHA rules. Ernie Johnson's share of series revenues was by court order to be paid to the Montreal Wanderers, whom had left while under contract to go to the PCHA. For the entire series, future Hockey Hall of Fame goalie Georges Vezina aided Montreal by posting a 2.60 goals against average, and Didier Pitt, the unheralded superstar of the Habs at the time, led Montreal in scoring with 4 counters. Now, the Montreal Canadiens NHA roster included Georges Vezina in goal, Howard McNamara, the captain, on point, Pert Corbeau at cover point, Didier Pitt as center rover, Edward Louis-Lalonde as the player coach, who played center, Georgie Goldie Progers, who played right wing and left wing, Jack Laviolette, who played left wing, Amos Arbor, who played again left wing, Louis Berlinghetti, left wing, George Skinner Poulin at center, Eskin Skeeny Ronan at center right wing, Spear Jack Fournier at right wing left wing, with U.P. Boudier as president, George Kennedy Kendall as manager-owner. Now, the Portland Rosebuds had Tommy Murray in goal, Del Irvin at the point, Ernie Moose Johnson at cover point, Fred Smokey Harris as rover left wing, Tommy Dunderdale at center, Eddie Oatman at left wing, Charles Tobin at left wing right wing, Charlie Oxilla as left wing, Alf Barber at center, with C.D. Doherty as president and Edward Savage as manager-coach. Now, Game 1 on March 20th was won by Portland in an upset at the Montreal Arena. Now, Portland had arrived by train the day before the game, but showed no weariness, long trip from the West Coast, and they recorded a shutout. Now, in Game 2, despite missing Louis-Lalonde, Jack Laviolette, Montreal, behind some heavy checking, defeated Portland 2-1. To tie the series. Now, Game 3 on March 25th, with Lalonde and Laviolette back in the lineup, Lalonde eventually got into a fight with Ernie Johnson, requiring the police to break up the fight. Now, Lalonde and Laviolette were ejected for the game, and Eddie Oatman received a major penalty. Now, Pitt was the scoring star, notching 3 to lead the Habs to a 6-3 victory. Now, with the possibility of Montreal winning their first cup in Game 4, Portland made a comeback. They evened the series with a 6-5 victory. The Rosebuds had took an early 3-0 lead, only to see the Habs tie it with 4 unanswered to take a 4-3 advantage. But in the third period, Portland's Fred Harris scored twice, and Charlie Axilla scored once to allow Portland to take a 6-4 lead until the last minute when Lalonde scored to make it closer. Now, the exciting Game 5, big fan turnout, big press coverage, and Portland's Tommy Dunderdale gave his team a 1-0 lead, and he held the advantage for most of the game until Skeeny Ronan tied the game. Now, the seldom used George Prodder then scored the game and series-winning goal, the first ever in Montreal Canadiens history, to clinch the cup for the Canadiens. Now, is that thing interesting about George? I want to go into a little bit because I think the dedication he showed. He played numerous teams in his career, including Waterloo Colts, Quebec Bulldogs, the Victoria Aristocats, the Montreal Wanderers, the Habs, the Toronto 228 Battalion, the Toronto St. Pats, and the Hamilton Tigers. Now, he did win the Stanley Cup in 1912 with the Bulldogs, and in 1916 with the Habs, but eventually retired in 1925. Now with London, Ontario, he played with the hometown Athletics and the Wingers for a short while, and again he was putting up some good totals. But in over 40 some games over 2 seasons with the Montreal Wanderers and the Montreal Canadiens, he only opened up in the playoffs. And in that 1916 playoff, again, he scored 3 goals in 4 games, which put him over the top. And then he became a great goal scorer for the Tigers, and later on, for the St. Pats, and later on for the Toronto Tigers. So quite an interesting career. Now, getting back to the 1916 Stanley Cup, it was presented by the trophy's trustee, William Forlan. The Canadiens never did engrave their name on the cup for the championship season. Now, the following Canadiens players and staff were eligible to have their names engraved in the Stanley Cup, included Lalonde, Pitt, Poulin, Ronan, Arbor, Belangetti, Fournier, Laviolette, Corbeau, McNamara, Proger, and of course Vazina, and under the coaching administrative staffs, Boucher, Kennedy, Napoleon Dorval, and S. Newsworthy, who was a trainer, and Aldry Guimont was assistant trainer. Now, although the Rosebuds did not win the series, they had the words Portland, Oregon, PCHA Champions 1915-16 engraved on a cup after attaining the trophy from the previous year's champions, Vancouver Millionaires. Now, this was consistent with the practice at the time that the trophy was passed on to the winner of the league championship of the previous Cup Champions League. Portland is thus the only city not to win the Cup outright to be listed as champions on the Stanley Cup, and despite the fact the Habs of 1916 do not have their names engraved what was then the Cup. Now, after the series, Canadian, NHA, and World Champions defeated Portland 1915-16 was added to the Cup, and the spell Canadian IAN instead of the Quebecois IENS. Now, 2 non-players' first names are unknown. Manager coach George Kennedy is also known as George Kendall, while Montreal Canadian credits him as president in 1916. However, the team pitcher lists UP Boucher as president. So a little bit of history. Now, what's very interesting about this, again, the names of the Habs of 16 are not on the cup. I don't know if the league will ever decide to put the names on it for, I don't know, but I'd like to see some kind of presentation to some of the ancestors, especially ancestors of Nuzi Lalonde or George Vezina. I think they'd be a very cool thing to do. So that's a legend of the Montreal Canadiens 1916 Stanley Cup winner. If you like what you're doing, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. Requests are always taken into consideration, but just remember, if we're talking about a team from 105 years ago, they had to be good, and they were good. Have a good day. Bye.